Good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Kindly let me know in the chat box if you can hear me. Okay. I'll wait for 2 minutes and then we will start the class. Yes, there will be a class on Saturday, I think 8 p.m. Shall we start the session now? Are you all ready? It might take some time. The attendance might get updated by Sunday, I think. I'm not sure. I think PPT is shared on the app. If it is not, I will try to share it after this class. Okay, so topic for discussion of today's class is Introduction to Ethical Hacking and Introduction to Basics of Computer Networks. Someone in the previous class asked me about the topics that we are going to cover in this whole session. Uh, we have already mentioned all those topics in the orientation session, right? But I will tell you the topics that we are going to cover this week and the upcoming week. Okay. In today's class, we will cover computer networks and ethical hacking, introduction to ethical hacking. And in the following classes, we will learn about security management, what are the frameworks that we use in security management, contingency planning, what are the laws and policies, right? Risk management, and in terms of ethical hacking, we will learn TCP IP protocols and other protocols that we use in networks. Okay. IP addressing and IP subnetting, routing protocols, right? Port scanning using Nmap and Metasploit. That is what we are going to cover in the next week, this week and next week. Okay. Is my presentation visible right now? Just a second. Okay, so let us start with today's class. Okay, this is the topic of discussion. In the first half of the session, we will discuss introduction to ethical hacking, key terminologies in hacking, what hackers can do once inside. Okay, I mean what damage that can cause, roles and of security and penetration testers, types of testing, penetration testing methodologies, tools that we use for penetration testing. Okay, ethical and legal considerations in ethical hacking. Okay, skills required for ethical hackers, and then conclusion. After this, we will discuss computer networks. Is that fine? If you'll give me some extra time, maybe we can cover some more topics too. Okay, so let us start by introduction to ethical hacking. Some of it we have already covered in the previous class, I think. Just a second, but still we will cover it up really quick. Okay, first let's define ethical hacking. Okay, ethical hacking refers to the process of mimicking the techniques of malicious hackers to identify and fix vulnerabilities in systems or networks, often called penetration testings or red teaming. Okay, ethical hacking are the guardians of an organization's cybersecurity defenses. Get my point? They mimic the activities of a black hat hacker or a malicious hacker with the intention of finding bugs or vulnerabilities in a system that they can fix uh, to improve the security of that organization or that company. Their primary goal is to identify vulnerabilities, providing detailed report of their findings, right? And recommending robust solutions for remediation, right? Moving on to the key terminologies. Meanwhile, if you have any doubts, let me know in the chat box. Okay. Is my screen visible? Yes, it is. Okay. Key terminologies. Hacking. Now, what is hacking? Hacking is the breaching the security of a system, often requiring skills and intelligence, right? There's a difference between hacking and cracking. That's why we have this topic as key terminologies, so that you know what these basic things are. Okay. Cracking, it is similar to hacking but with malicious intent. Got my point? So hacking may not be malicious, but cracking is somewhat with malicious intent, with wrongful intent. Spoofing is falsifying one's identity or packet information to deceive others. Deceive, you understand what deceive is, right? Next we have DOS. We can say it DOS, denial of service. In this, what we do is overload a system to make it unavailable to legitimate users. So what happens is the hackers put in so many uh, unlegitimate requests that it overloads a system, right? And then the servers get so much busy that they cannot clarify what is a legitimate request from a legitimate user and what is just trash. So it goes in a state of denial of service. Okay, it cannot provide service anymore, so that is why it is called DOS, denial of service. Next we have port scanning. Port scanning is locating open ports to vulnerabilities, okay, essential for identifying weak points in security, right? I will provide this PPT after the class, and I will also try to provide you some notes so that you can cover up basic things by your own and we can move quickly with the program, right? Kali Linux is the most widely used. So, yes, we use Kali Linux because whatever tools we need for ethical hacking, just now I told that we will be using Nmap, right, for port scanning. So, there are a lot of tools that are required for hacking, ethical hacking, and Kali Linux all has all those pre-installed in it. You get my point? It already has all of that. That is why it is most used, and that is why we'll also be using it. When we will move on to the Kali Linux chapter or the topic, beforehandedly I will upload the video of how to install it. Got it? WhatsApp group. I'll share it on app instead. Moving on to the roles of security and penetration testers. I think we are missing a point here. Yeah, I missed. Yeah, this slide I missed. Sorry. What hackers can do once inside. Okay. What happens after hacker gains access to a system? This is often the most dangerous phase of a cyber attack. Voice is very low. Is my voice low? Do I need to increase the volume? If you want, I can increase, but sometimes increasing the volume may result in cracking of voice. So, do you want me to increase it or it is fine? It's low. Okay, just a second. Okay, moving on. Let's see what hackers can do. Once inside, a hacker can elevate privileges, okay, access sensitive information. Okay, hackers can access personal data or financial records or anything that is inside, mostly intellectual property. They can install malware, right? Like ransomware, or in the previous class we discussed, right? Ransomware, or there are more like keyloggers or trojans like that. Modify or delete data, right? Or they can utilize it for further attacks. They can use the compromised system to launch further attacks on other networks known as lateral movements. This is what possibly hackers can do. Moving on, roles of security and penetration testers, which is the ultimate goal of becoming, right? In cybersecurity, both security professionals and penetration testers play vital roles. Okay, so let us distinguish them. We have security testers and we have penetration testers, and they have their own roles. Security testers have preventive roles. They focus on implementing policies, procedures, and controls to prevent breaches. Okay, prevention, right? Meanwhile, on penetration testers, it is somewhat an offensive role. They simulate attacks to identify vulnerabilities in a system. Got it? So, basic difference is security testers, they have a preventive role. They try to prevent the situations. Meanwhile, the penetration testers, they have an offensive role where they try to simulate those situations. Got it? Moving on to our next topic, that is types of testing. Okay, we have white box, black box, gray box, and tiger box, right? So let us first discuss white box. Okay, penetration testers use different models based on the level of information provided uh, to the tester. Okay, based on the information that we have, we will choose one of these models. Let us see the difference between them and what they are. White box testing. In this, the tester is given complete access to the system details. The hacker has all the details, including architecture, source code, and also the network diagram, right? Meanwhile, when we discuss black box testing, here the tester has no prior information and must simulate a real world attacker by gathering information independently. Got it? So there is no information given, and the penetration tester has to figure it out on his own. Next, we have gray box testing, which is a hybrid approach. Okay, where the hacker has partial knowledge of the system, such as limited access of the architecture or network, something like that. Then we have tiger box testing, which is the use of the definition would be the use of a portable device, often preloaded with multiple hacking tools and operating systems to simulate attacks, right? So the advantage would be that it is more convenient and versatile method to test systems in real time. And use case of these, first of all, let's see tiger box. What is the use case? This is often employed in mobile penetration testing or scenario required portability. Gray box is usually used when the time is limited but realistic attack scenarios are needed, and black box whereas is very time consuming and resource intensive. White box testing is very accurate and time saving compared to others, right? Is there any question till now? I'm reading the chat. Lateral movement. What I mean by lateral movement is when we were discussing what hackers can do once inside, utilize for further attacks. Have you heard of botnet? It is a kind of attack where several systems are used like a network or a web to launch an attack. So we can say that is a lateral movement and it is used for further attacks. That is what is meant here. Where it is used mostly, what are you talking about? I will upload this PPT after the class, and I will also try to upload some notes. Okay, so now let us see penetration testing methodologies. Okay, uh, so do you want me to differentiate or do you want me to explain what tiger box testing is? Okay, first I will explain what it is. Tiger box testing is also a type of penetration testing, right? That simulates an external attack, cyber attack on a system. And the goal here is to identify vulnerabilities and weaknesses. It involves using pre built hardware or software tools designed to breach a target system security defenses. The purpose is to access how well a system can withstand external attack. Tiger box tools, that it includes hacking tools and scripts or specialized software or hardware tailored for penetration testings. It is commonly used for sniffers and password attackers, vulnerability scanning. It is somewhat a simulation of real world cyber attack. As a beginner, I would say this I have shared as for knowledge, but first we will cover these three, right? This tiger box, this is the limitation of tiger box testing. uh, this requires a very skillful testers and advanced tools for accurate accuracy, right? So this is somewhat an advanced level, so don't stress over it if you are not getting it. Okay, it is somewhat similar to black box testing, where the hacker has very no uh, access or no prior information and uses some malicious intent to simulate an attack to find vulnerabilities. Now, moving on to penetration testing methodologies, what is these methodologies importance and what is common, right? So these are the tools that ethical hackers use for penetration testing. Let's review a few popular ones. Okay, first we have nmap. It is used for scanning networks and identifying open ports. Next up we have metasploit. It's a framework used to exploit vulnerabilities. And then we have burp suite for testing web application securities. Each tool plays a vital role in identifying vulnerabilities and improving system defenses. Now, how do these tools work and what is the installation, what are the commands and everything? We will see in the upcoming sessions. This is just a heads up for you all. Okay. In the next class, we will cover contingency planning, laws and policies, risk management, and everything. And in the following week, we will start up with Kali Linux and these tools. Got it? Next up, we have ethical and legal considerations in ethical hacking. Okay. Ethical hackers operate within the law, but it's crucial to understand boundaries, right? Because that is what is differentiating between an ethical hacker and an unethical hacker, right? The legal boundary is what is allowed and not allowed. So always remember, accessing a system without permission is obviously illegal. Installing any kind of software or any malware or launching anything, any script, that is also illegal. As ethical hackers, your job is to secure systems, not to compromise them or to play around with them, right? The more detailed version of the legal foundations we will cover up in the following classes, where we will discuss some uh, lawful terms too, okay, some sections, IPCs, and all of that regarding cybersecurity in our legislature. Okay, what law has to say according to cybersecurity, we will cover that too. The punishments, the how the law identifies an attack, how they are classified, punishments, everything. Now, the skills required for ethical hacking, I know some of you might be thinking that we need strong networking knowledge, that we are going to start from today itself. Programming skills, at least you should have, okay, basic programming skills, problem solving, and most of all, I would say legal knowledge too, that we will cover in the upcoming sessions. That is to stay within the boundaries of ethical hacking, right? So that you don't make up some mistake hacking your school or college's website and end up somewhere you don't want to be. Because once you make that decision, uh, there is no going back. You can't say that I was learning or I was practicing, right? Just a second. Yes. That was it for the introduction part of ethical hacking. Is there any question? Because now we are going to move to the computer networking part. Yes, you should know the basic laws that is related with, you know, ethical hacking, cybersecurity. We will discuss those. Let me share my presentation of computer networks. See, there is no particular language that you should know. What I mean is that you should be a basic, programmer, that you have actually studied programming languages and you understand how codes work and computers work, right? You should know basic of web development, basic of any programming language, basic of SQL, databases, everything you should know. There's no particular language that you need to study and then you will become an ethical hacker. Just a second, I'm sharing my presentation right now. Yes. So this is what we will cover now in the next 30 minutes. The overview of computer networks. Okay, understanding computer networks, importance, types, data communication overview, circuit switching, and everything. Okay, this is the topics that we are going to discuss. There are some topics missing from today's class, I know, that we will cover in the next session. That is the protocols, network protocols like TCP, IP, UDP, and then we will move on to IP. Okay, IP addresses, IP versions, subnetting. How many of you have already studied computer networks in college? Because there is a subject of computer networks, right? I've created a poll, kindly answer it. So, studying in this sem. Okay, 12th, great. Yes, Sagar. Okay, I can see more than half of the population has studied computer networks in their college. So, we will try to, complete, wrap it up quickly. Okay, this is just the basic of what you have studied in college, right? So, what is a computer network? A computer network is essentially a communication system where multiple devices, computers, or hosts are interconnected. They are connected with each other. This network or this connection allows the connected devices to communicate seamlessly between each other and share resources, right? This is what the purpose of computer network is, and this is the definition simply, right? Those who have not studied, this is just pretty basic stuff, and you can study from PPT or you can study from notes that I'll share. Moving on, importance of computer networks. Why do we use them? Connectivity and communication, resource sharing, cost efficiency, and data management, right? This is what just I said right now. We use computer networks so that we can connect with other devices easily and that we can share resources and manage our data, right? Moving on to the types of computer networks. I think we have all studied this back in school also, right? Maybe in 8th class or so. Local area network, wide area network, metropolitan area network, wireless local area network, right? So, what a local area network is, it covers a small geographical area such as a home or an office, right? It is the fastest type of network which speed ranges from 10 mbps or to beyond 100 gbps also, right? It's cost efficient for organizations in the long run, right? The most common example would be Ethernet or Wi-Fi in your home. Next, we have wide area network. It is used to connect devices or networks across larger distances, uh, like cities or continents, we could say. Cities. It is slower and more expensive due to the infrastructure and the costing, right? The prices. The example would be for any corporate networks that is spanning multiple offices. Then we have metropolitan area network, that is connects network within specific geographical area like a city within a city. And then we have VLAN, wireless local area network, a LAN that uses wireless communication methods, right? I'm ending the poll now. 66 percent students have already studied this. Great. Data communication over a network. As the name suggests, what is data communication? The exchange of data between devices through a transmission medium, right? Moving on. Now that we know that networks are, let's talk about how data is transferred between devices, right? There are mainly two methods. The first one is circuit switching and the second one is packet switching. First of all, let's discuss what is circuit switching. Okay. What is circuit switching? Circuit switching is a type where a dedicated path is set up between the sender and receiver before communication begins. So in circuit switching, there is a path. For example, if a person, a node, wants to send information to another nodes and there are several nodes in between. So in circuit switching, there is a specified path, dedicated path between them from where the message or that packet would go, right? Okay, I have it here. The steps that include in circuit switching would be, first is connection establishment. First, the connection would be established between the sender and the receiver. A fixed path established between these two endpoints. Then the data transfer. The data flows uninterrupted between these two reserved dedicated path. And after the data is transferred, the third step is the termination of the connection, right? It is all mentioned here if you are searching it. Connection establishment, data transfer, and then connection termination. Termination is where the path is released once the communication is end, right? The example would be, think of the traditional phone call, right? You remember the old telephone, the old one. There, the connection is exclusive during that call, right? That is the example of circuit switching. So when we were using that traditional telephones, when we used to call someone, it would set up a dedicated path between these two, the call sender and the receiver. So that is the example of circuit switching, the traditional telephone. Now let us discuss packet switching. Oh, I forgot the advantages and disadvantages. The advantages of circuit switching would be that it guarantees bandwidth and consistent data transfer speed. The disadvantage would be inefficient for bursty traffic and introduces initial delay. Okay, it will have some initial delay until the path is dedicated, right? Next up, we have packet switching. Here the data is broken into smaller packets, small packets into smaller packets, and sent independently through shared channels, right? I do not have a diagram here, but if you Google it, the circuit switching and packet switching, you will see in packet switching, you can see through the diagram, the data is broken into smaller pieces and then it is shared into independently shared into channels where it would meet at the endpoint where it is supposed to be. So what will be the processes in packets switching? First process is called packetization. What it means is data is split into packets. Your initial data is broken into smaller packets. Then the second process is called header addition, right? Each packet gets a header. This is used for identification purposes. Third is transmission. Packets travel independently, possibly taking different routes. Okay. And the fourth is reassembly. Packets are reassembled at the destination. The advantage of this packet switching would be it is efficient use of network bandwidth. It supports priority handling. And the example of packet switching would be mm, the internet primarily uses datagram packet switching for transmitting information, right? So whatever our data is on the internet, right? Data internet is a wide example of this packet switching, but almost everything moves in small packets, right? So that would be the example. Okay, so you can see the difference here. Circuit switching requires a dedicated path, allows sharing of network resources, may lead to delays during network setup, more efficient, right? No, currently not. If you have any doubts, kindly let me know in the chat box. Now let us discuss virtual circuit approach in packet switching. What is virtual circuit and how it works? So what virtual circuit is? A special method of packet switching is a virtual circuit approach which combines special aspects of both circuit and packet switching. Got my point? It combines aspects of both that we have discussed right now, circuit and packet switching. Hmm. Some points are missing in my PPT, but don't worry, though they will be mentioned in the notes that I will share. So the next thing we need to discuss is how it works, right? It works in three steps. First is connection establishment, right? Which means a route is established between sender and receiver. The second is packet transmission. Packet includes VCN, which means virtual circuit number. Let me share my screen just a second. Okay, so currently we are discussing virtual circuits, right? Don't mind the spelling and all. So it is conducted in three steps. The first would be connection establishment, right? Here a route is established between sender and receiver. Okay. The second step is packet transmission. Okay. The third one is packet forwarding. Now there is a term that we need to discuss. Just a second. Right. VCN, which is virtual circuit number. Right. So what happens in the second stage is uh, the packet transmission. The packets that we are creating, right? They include a virtual circuit numbers in their headers that is used for their identification when they are reassembled at the end, right? Then we have packet forwarding. When these packets are forwarded, the intermediate nodes use the VCN, this virtual circuit number, to guide packets along the pre-established path. Got it? The connection that we established here, we dedicated a path, right, and established a route. So when these packets that we have created, these are forwarded, these VCN, virtual circuit numbers, these are used to guide those packets into that route that we are discussing. Currently the form is not shared. I will share it uh, when the class is done. My screen is visible, right? Let me know. Okay, moving on to our presentation part. Advantages and drawbacks of these virtual circuits that we use. Okay, the advantages would be that feature is link utilization, right? Shared links improves efficiency in virtual circuits, right? And the second advantage is predefined routes reduce processing. When we define the route, pre-establish it as discussed before, it reduces the processing, right? Whereas the drawbacks would include less adaptable to changing network conditions, right? And lack of dynamic routing can lead to congestion, which means because we have a predefined path, That means we do not have a dynamic routing, right? That could lead to congestion. Is there any doubt till now? I am reading the comment section now. Let me know. Is there any doubt related to the topics that I have uh, taught till now? Advantage and drawback are clear. The second disadvantage. The second disadvantage is that it could lead to a state of congestion because we have a dedicated path. We cannot. It is not dynamic, right? So it could lead to congestion. If you don't know what congestion means, congestion is the state, we can say overcrowding or blockage. We can say blockage, which could cause delay, difficulty of functioning. It depends on the use case. Where do we use virtual circuits? It is used in networks, what we are discussing right now. It is used in computer network communications or security protocols or penetration testing, right? Okay, moving on to the next topic. I think we have already covered this, right? Uh, Circuit and packet switching. It is again coming. Yes. Moving to datagram packet switching. We have covered this, sorry. I think yes. Yeah, next, let us discuss a model. We have more models than OSI. In this class, we are going to discuss this model OSI, and then uh, we will end the session after discussing reviews and what we will cover in the next classes. So, first of all, let us discuss OSI model. Yes. So, the OSI model, OSI stands for Open Systems Interconnection. Uh, if you have studied computer networks in college, I'm sure you have gone through this. This model organizes networking functions into 7 layers, right? It has 7 layers. Each layer serves as a specific purpose in data transmission, right? Uh, Let me draw it up. The 7 layers. Instead, I'll write it. Give. Meanwhile, if you know, you can also type it in the chat box. Let us see who can get it all right. First one is physical layer. Second is data link layer. Second is network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, application layer. Right? These are the layers that are in OSI model. Yes, Chandu. Okay, so let us start. First of all, let me recap what we are discussing right now. We are discussing the OSI model, which stands for Open Systems Intercommunication. Right? It is a model. It is a framework, conceptual framework that defines or standardize the functions of a network systems into 7 layers. Right? To ensure the operability between different devices and technologies. Each layer has its specific roles and communication within the layers directly above and below it. So let us see what these layers mean. Okay, first we have physical layer. The purpose of physical layer is it deals with the transmission of raw binary data over a physical medium, right? Example would be cables, fiber optics, right? The second is da- uh, data link layer. The data links layer purpose would be provide error free data transfer between adjacent nodes in the network, right? So first one we have as physical layer, which is used with the transmission of raw binary data over a physical medium, right? And you can see the examples as cables or hubs, right? The second is data link layer, which provides error free data transfer between adjacent nodes in the network. The devices would be switches and bridges, right? Third layer we have network layer. It handles logical addressing and routing of data between devices across multiple networks using IP addresses. And the responsibilities of network layer may include handling packets, forwarding them, routing them, congestion controlling, error handling. We discussed congestion, right? It is a state of overcrowding or blockage. So that is what happens in network layer. After that, we have transport layer that ensures reliable data transfer between end-to-end systems, right? This is the layer where we can detect errors and recover them. We can control the flows and congestion avoidance, right? Protocols would include TCP and UDP. Fifth one we have as session layer, manages and controls connections between applications, right? Right. Moving on to the sixth layer, presentation layer. It translates and encrypts and compresses data from the application layer, right? And lastly, we have application layer. It provides an interface for end user applications to access the network services. These all may sound like very technical terms and very boring. I know nobody liked the computer network subject in college, I think, but this is what it is, right? And you need to be thorough with these layers just on the basic level, right? So that you know what is going on. Are we clear with these seven layers? You can have a clearer view of these once I share the notes and the PPT. Now, internetworking devices. Let's have a look. This is the last topic. Okay, I said OSI was last, but this is the last. Let's look at devices that make all these connectivities possible. We can say hub. Okay, operates at the physical level, connecting multiple devices with a LAN. Okay, hub. Next, we have bridge, operates at the data link layer, connecting two networks. Okay, that is why it is called a bridge. It connects two networks. And the thirdly, we can say router. We all know what a router is. Operates at the network layer, directing data packets across multiple networks. Right? Is there any question till now? To wrap up the session, I would say a conclusion. Right? So networks from is the form the backbone of communication, right? By understanding their types and transmission methods, models like we discussed OSI, we can appreciate how devices and systems work, right? And understand how they work because we'll be needing them. Next time you browse the network or send an email, remember the complex processes behind the scenes. Okay. If you have any question, let me know. And I would like to know from the next class, we would cover some cybersecurity topics like security management, contingency planning, laws, okay, laws and policies, risk management, TCP IP protocols, and all that stuff. Would you like to have an extra class on Sunday? Form is shared because I want to cover most of the topics, right? So, in order to make that happen, right? Okay, 30% of the students don't want it. Strange. Okay, rest of the 69% students who want an extra class on Sunday, write what time do you want. The most number of spams that I will get, we will see. How about a recorded class? If I can see, because 30% is a large number, right? 30% is a big number. 30% of the students don't want class, so hmm, 12 evening. For those who have exams, I understand. Okay, so for those who have exams, just for the reference, share your exam date sheet to us on WhatsApp. And in that case, if you have exams, we will give you free attendance. If that is the case, you can concentrate on your exams and we'll see what we'll see. Okay. So I can see 70% of students want extra class on Sunday, but 30% don't. So what we will do is, uh, for that extra class, hmm, I'm not getting any bright ideas. What I'm thinking is, uh, let's put up all the theoretical part in one class only, right? So things like risk management and contingency planning, laws and policies, I'll put up in that in one session. Okay, so let us cover that in extra class. How about you say? Leave a like before you leave. There are only 26 likes I can see. But then there would be a problem for attendance, right? Between 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Hmm. Okay, I'll think about it. For now, this was the end of the class. Thank you for joining. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the chat box regarding the class. And I will see you in the next class. I think we have our next class on Saturday. Thank you for joining today. Even though I can see the attendance has dropped, students are not joining now. But okay, I'll send the PPT now in the app. Yes, you may leave. Thank you for joining. Good night. I don't know why the attendance are not updated in app, but we'll see. Yes. Yes, you may leave now. Thank you for joining. Good night. I'm just trying to cover up all the things, and most probably next week we will have some amazing classes.